As many of you may be aware, Sony recently announced their new lineup of PlayStation 5 consoles. It's the refresh for the PlayStation 5. It's not like a PS5 Pro or anything. It's essentially more akin to like a PS5 Slim. They announced this on October 10th, 2023 via the following blog post titled "New Look for PS5 Console This Holiday Season." You've got a physical edition and a digital edition. So let's break it down. Here are some of the positives as well as some of the negatives surrounding this refresh. So first things first, there is an attachable Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. So when you purchase the digital edition, you will be able to actually attach a disc drive to it in case you change your mind. So if you feel like you're going to play mostly digital games but want to have the option of adding some kind of disc drive just in case, I think that's really great that they did that. There's rumors that the next Xbox refresh might just be digital only, which people aren't thrilled about. With this, you still got physical and digital editions, and with the digital edition, you got the option to upgrade to a physical disc drive. So I think that's a really positive way of doing things. It's good to see that there's still some semblance of acknowledgement that a lot of people still purchase physical editions of games. Beyond that, this downsized PS5 will come with a 1TB SSD internal storage, whereas the original PS5 came with a storage size of 825 gigabytes, much of that taken up by the operating system, so you only really got 667 gigabytes of usable storage space. I imagine a significant portion of the 1TB will be taken up by the operating system, so I imagine closer to 800 gigabytes, but that's still 200 gigabytes more than what the original offered, so that's a positive. Then there's the fact that the PlayStation 5 has been reduced in size by more than 30%, according to this blog post, the weight by 18% and 24%, depending on whether you get the physical or digital edition compared to previous models. Some people have already put up comparison images and videos, which Sony for some reason did not provide, but here's what that looks like. So you can see right here that the slim version is a little shorter and a little, slimmer. And you can see right here from the direct comparison that, the size difference is not huge per se. News outlet The Verge also did a size comparison here in more sort of simple shapes that highlights that, yes, again, that 30% smaller in terms of volume spec is probably true, but it's not going to be this world of difference per se. But, something is better than nothing. Now, also interesting is this seam right here, the separation, and that's because the cover plates for the PS5 Slim is now split into 4 instead of 2. So you got these 2 at the top and these 2 at the bottom. So it makes it more modular. I suppose you can, swap things and kind of create combinations of things. So that's kind of interesting. By default, the console will launch with the top panels here being glossy and the bottom ones here being matte. Beyond that, they're going to sell additional covers to customize your PS5 Slim with. Scrolling down, you can see that PS5 console cover colors for the new model will be available starting in early 2024. There's going to be an all matte black colorway and the Deep Earth Collection colors in volcanic red, cobalt blue, and sterling silver. And these will come in at a price point of $55 a pop, which is a good chunk of change for just a hunk of plastic, but it is optional, and it's nice that you have that customization feature so you don't have to buy a new console every time some kind of limited edition thing comes out. Now, it's important to keep in mind that if you get the digital edition and get the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive for the PlayStation 5 later, that's an additional $80. And the thing about this new digital edition of the PlayStation 5 is that it's actually more expensive than the original PS5 digital edition. It's $50 more, coming in at $450, whereas the original PS5 digital edition was $400. So that's $450 plus $70. That comes in at $520, which is more expensive than if you were to get the $500 PS5 that includes the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. So if you know you're going to play physical games, you might as well save a little bit of money by just getting the version with the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive. Speaking of saving money, this brings us to the sponsor of today's video, Raycon, whose earbuds are as high quality as they're affordable and recently turned 6. As part of their anniversary celebration, Raycon is offering 20% off across all of their products and 40% off for select ones to thank everyone for supporting them for 6 years. Throughout that time, beyond expanding their business with the introduction of Raycon Home Tech and Raycon Power Tech in the last year, Raycon has aimed to disrupt the electronics industry by proving that you don't need to break the bank to get great audio pumped into your ears in a convenient, compact, portable, and premium form factor. And from my experience, they've definitely been onto something here. Having used these earbuds at home, on the go, in the gym, you name it, I've been really happy with the crisp, balanced, and bassy audio they produce. Sound quality that's comparable to that of earbuds from more prominent big tech brands, but starting at only half the price. Now even more affordable with the anniversary sale. Not to mention that these earbuds are incredibly feature complete, with the buttons on each side allowing you to control media playback, selection, and volume, activate voice assistant, answer and end calls, turn on sound isolation, and even change between different sound profiles. They're also comfortable, lightweight, and unintrusive by being flush with your ears, with multiple tips to choose from for the perfect fit, as well as multiple colors to match your style. For added ease of mind, they're not only water and sweat resistant, but they also offer a whopping 8 hours of playback on a single charge, with a charging case offering an additional 32 hours of battery. Celebrate Raycon turning 6 with their biggest sale of the year going on right now. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/yongye and use the code BIRTHDAY to get 20 to 40% off site-wide and to support the channel. That price increase on the digital edition is one of the disappointing aspects of this refresh, which, by the way, will be launching starting this November in the US in November 2023 at select local retailers and direct.playstation.com. And here's the thing about this new model. Once the original PS5 model is sold out, the new PS5 will become the only model available. So this is essentially a price increase for the digital edition of the PlayStation 5. $50 more in the US. Once the inventory of the original is sold out, you can't get that cheaper model, so eventually the de facto price of the digital edition of PlayStation 5 will be $450 instead of $400. Here's Ethan Gatch, senior reporter at Kotaku, who tweeted, "No idea what's going on here. The new slim all-digital PS5 is saving Sony on material, shipping, and manufacturing footprint, plus the bigger margin it gets on digital game sales, so why increase the price when they benefit from selling more digital versions of the console, as it means potentially selling just more digital titles that are less costly to distribute." Some argue that maybe it's a combination of the re-engineering involved to slim down the PlayStation 5, combined with the fact that because the disk drive is now attachable and detachable, maybe there was an additional engineering component there that drove up the price a little bit. And then there's also the fact that the new PS5 model does come with a 1 terabyte SSD instead of the 825 gigabytes. But the same argument can be made for the slim model of the PS5 with the disk drive, and yet that price point has remained the same. So I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I think it's just Sony deciding to increase the price of the digital edition of the console. But the price goes up further across the board when you consider this one thing. A horizontal stand will be included with the new PS5 model, and that looks like this. See this little, I don't know, hairpin, paperclip, whatever. I can't tell if this is something you attach or if this is like a little kickstand that you prop up, but this is what the horizontal stand looks like. I guess it's functional enough, but some people are poking fun at this. Here's a close-up of what this metallic piece looks like. Some people are equating the kickstand to Radon's horse, which has to carry this massive entity. It's not the most inaccurate description. I'm a little concerned about its stability, but I suppose only time will tell. But then here's the kicker. If you want to stand the console vertically, then that's a separate cost. There's a new vertical stand compatible with all PS5 models that will be sold separately at $30. So if you're someone who doesn't have enough surface area on a table or a desk or some kind of media center and prefer to stand the console up vertically to make more space within that surface area, well, you have to shell out $30 extra to get the more secure vertical stand, whereas the original PlayStation 5 comes with a stand that can be used to prop the PlayStation 5 both horizontally and vertically. That's just included. Now, if you're a horizontal layout kind of guy, then this is of no concern to you, but plenty of people prop their PlayStation 5 up vertically. I'm one of those people. And the notion that the PS5 hardware in terms of its exterior was so poorly thought out that they have to include some kind of stand, or in this case, they have to sell it separately and charge an additional $30. That is, what the hell? I don't think I've ever seen a console refresh get more expensive. Again, the digital edition is $50 more straight up. And then across the board for vertical PS5 users, you're essentially looking at a new price of $530 if you get the PS5 with the disk drive and need that vertical stand. And then for the digital PS5 Slim model, you're looking at $450 plus $30 for a grand total of $480. This just feels like a combination of just not well thought out hardware design of, the exterior, and also PlayStation just being stingy. I'm sorry, but the ability to prop up your console, that should not be a separate feature. That should be included in the box. Make a significantly cheaper version of that vertical stand that gets the job done or something, whatever it is. Something should be included to be able to stand the PS5 up vertically. $30 extra for that. I mean, this is technically not something new for Sony. Back in the PS2 days, they sold a vertical stand separately from the console. But just because something has been done before doesn't mean it's a practice that should be repeated, especially when we're going backwards, given that the original PS5 included a stand for both horizontal and vertical, whereas the refresh, which is supposed to solve issues of the original version, does not. So in that sense, it is a step backwards. And it's something that's kind of in line with what Sony's doing with the PlayStation Portal, where for some reason Bluetooth isn't included. So you have to buy their specific earbuds and headsets to be able to get wireless audio through the PlayStation Portal. Do you technically need wireless audio? No. Is it convenient? Yes. And for that convenience, they're charging you extra. This vertical stand situation isn't anywhere near as bad as that, but I feel like it's in that vein of like, how is this just not included? All it does is make me further appreciate the just more simplistic Xbox design, which is just a rectangular prism instead of, the curvy PlayStation 5 design that makes it just more difficult to prop the console up. I'm not trying to say like this is the end of the world per se. I think there is a solution here where you don't need this vertical stand to prop up your PS5 vertically. Technically, though, whether that feels safe, given that this console looks a little top heavy, if you get the digital edition, whereas the disk drive edition does have this big lump that makes it more stable. Whether that's secure or not, I guess that's up to you to determine based on your circumstances when it comes to placing your PlayStation 5. But some people would just prefer that security of, having a stand that ensures the PS5 won't move around, that has rubber feet and everything. So I think you can technically prop this up vertically without the vertical stand. It's just not going to be as secure. I don't know, man. This is bizarre. That part, it just gets me. With refreshes, you're supposed to solve issues with the original design, including, slimming it down and all these things, but also just designing it better so that some of the previous past issues can be addressed. And it just feels like this is a missed opportunity on that front. And I don't recall a situation where a refresh has resulted in a price increase for the console. It's just never been a thing unless that console or that version of the console offered more power, offered some new feature that made that price increase worth it. But this is the same old design, except for the fact that the USB-A port on the front has been replaced with a USB-C port. So it's two USB-C ports at the front, but that should be nowhere enough to justify a $50 price increase for the digital edition. And because the original PS5 models will be phased out, you'll have eventually no choice but to spend additional $50 for the digital edition of the PS5 Slim, which will become the de facto PS5 Slim. And those who buy this new PS5 Slim after the original versions sell out and are no longer in circulation will have no choice but to deal with the inconvenience and additional purchase of having to get this vertical stand separately for $30. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about this refresh. There are some pros, but there are also definitely some cons. But I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on all of this. Are the sort of the cons of the PS5 Slim not that big a deal to you, or does this feel kind of like what the hell in some areas, which is kind of how I feel. But share your thoughts in the comments below, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.